Guys, I have great news for you, because wire wrapping takes a lot of practice. Even doing the same pattern over and over again, you get a little bit more refined each time, and that little bit of refination, if that's a word, can make the difference between catching somebody's eye or maybe not. And so practice, do a lot. But stones cost money, wire costs money. And so right now I'm going to talk about, as you practice this and get good at these patterns, you can start trying smaller stones with smaller wire. And the amazing thing is, a lot of people like daintier little necklaces better. A lot of people don't want to wear something big and overpowering. You know, there's plenty of people who do. There's, you know, you have your extroverts out there, but you could take these same patterns, use a slightly thinner gauge, maybe bump down to the next thinner gauge, or maybe even two, experiment, and you can get a stone half the size, 1/3 the size, and do the exact same patterns in teeny tiny little cute stones and wire. Just to show you how small these are, look at this. That is an American penny worth 1 cent. But to show you even more how small these are, this is how small they are next to Melvin, an actual spider. Look at that. And they're so cute on top of it. They're so teeny tiny and cute. And the good news is, for you women, most of the times you have smaller fingers, so you can navigate these tiny little turns and tiny little curves with less trouble than the poor men with their big clumsy fingers. Now, I've developed all kinds of superpowers, so I can just, you know, just do magic, like just move my fingers certain ways, and new stones just appear. And the cost benefit in making these is phenomenal. You think, oh, they're like 1/3 the size. They might cost 1/3 in materials. No, it's way less, because thinner wire costs less per foot. You use less length of wire. You use smaller stones. Sometimes a smaller stone can cost 1/10 as much as a bigger stone, or even less. Use up these little chips that cost very little compared to a big old stone like this. So you can make probably a dozen pieces for the same price as one piece normally, and they're easier to store. More of them fit on a display. You can offer your customers more options, or if they're gifts, you can have more gifts for people. So many things amazing about these cute little guys. Now, the wire is a little more delicate. It's easier to have it wonk out somewhere. So, you know, you got to be a little bit more careful. That's why it's better to practice with the big wire, with the big chunky ones, because then you get your styles refined. And, you know, your big mistakes like this, you work those out and get them really, you know, try to work out the big mistakes and get better and better. Then you get to a tiny thing like this. Even if you make a little mistake, it's so teeny tiny, nobody can see it. And it doesn't even look like a mistake. It's so adorable. There it is. Anyway, so let's make some together. This is 22 gauge, and over here is 26 gauge. The silver said it was 22. It feels like 24. I'm not sure, but basically we're using between 22 and 26. That's what I'm saying. And let's make some of these cute little guys. They are so cute. Here's the simplest of them all. This is an oval teardrop. It's about 1 centimeter, half an inch long. And I'm using 22 again. I think this is 24, even though it was labeled 22. Anyway, it's very thin. And I'm only cutting about, what am I cutting about? 7 inches. And this is drilled straight through this way. So this works for any kind of flat bead. Any flat bead at all. This abalone seashell, of course, is one of my favorite. So I bring it to the middle of the wire. Crimp, crimp. That's pretty much my standard. Now I make a loop at the top. That's also my standard. Now here's the part where it just gets so simple it's almost unfair. Just hold the loop in your finger, wrap this around the periphery. That's why it's good for a flat bead. and then these two join each other, and they finish coming around like this, and then just cross in front of the loop. Try to show you what that looks like. See, I have these two strands here. On this side, I only have one strand. That's fine. And I'm holding it tight like this, crossing. Oh, whoa! See, just jumped right out of my fingers. This is the part where you got to be very gentle. Hold it right like this. Try that again. And just cross right over. Carefully stack the wire just like you would with a larger piece. Go around as many times as you want until you feel it's come to the top. Twice around for me, I feel like that's plenty. Lift this on a diagonal. Gently get in there. Now, even though it's small, you want to be very precise. Cut it right in the middle of the part that goes across the loop. So you have these two ends sticking out. See those two ends? And gently tuck them in. But these two ends will still stab someone more than ever, maybe, because they're tiny. So get them tucked good. And then look at that. It's pretty much done. I mean, this is a little bit fragile. You could put a little tiny bit of E6000 or super glue around the edge. But I mean, if you do it tight enough and it's a small enough bead, I feel like that's a pretty stable necklace. And just, you know, jump rings and a little chain. So that's our first one. Here's the one you could do with leftover teeny tiny beads, stones, chips. I like to do the 3, and I like to do the upside down snowman, like big, medium, small. But you can do it the other way. You can do small, big, small, any pattern you want. But I like to do them like this. Big, medium, small, hanging straight down like that. Again, it's just like, not even like 5 inches, 10 centimeters. Same wire. It's either 22 or 24. Stack them on. This is one of the few times we don't go to the middle. Whatever part is the bottom, we go to the end and take our round nose pliers, turn it 90 degrees, about less than a centimeter, about a ½ inch, and then roll it the opposite way. Roll it, roll it, roll it, till you get this cute little loop. And then press it tight against the loop. And take the same round nose pliers, crimp it again, hold them right about here, right about there. You'll get a feel for what's right. About halfway down, and wrap it around those pliers. Now see, that's not tight yet. You roll it to get it tight. Roll it, reposition, roll it. It's a funny thing about this camera, when I get up too close and then I try to focus, it forces it out of focus. It's like it's rebelling, like a bad little kid. Okay, and then once it's tight enough and these are not moving up and down, then I've done this a bunch of times, but I love doing it. I'll do it for you guys over and over because it's so fun. Diagonal across into the crevice. Diagonal across into the crevice behind it. Diagonal across and then around the loop. Now you just, normally we'd scarf the bottom here, but this is so dainty, there's almost not room to scarf it. I'm just going to cut it with just enough, tiny bit enough wire, if it will let me focus, to just tuck that in to itself so it's gone, no scratching. And now you just play with it a little bit. You get it, you hold it. This is the front facing out. Make sure all your diagonals are right where you want them. You can kind of move them with your finger. Sometimes I like to have that face forward. Now this is cute. You could hang a little charm right there, like a little teeny tiny heart or a leaf or a key. Let me show you. In case some of you don't want to know what a heart or a key looks like. Leaf, key, heart, elephant, Dalmatian, butterfly, cold weather, warm tropical weather, exercise, No longer tiny. Anyway, you get the idea. Let's do another one. These little teeny tiny seashells discs are just so cute. This is 26 gauge. How thin is that? 26. This is about 7 inches. You can barely see it on the camera. Look at that. Bring it to the middle. Crimp, crimp. Make my loop. Oh my gosh, so tiny. It's almost like falling apart as I'm making it. Just have to be extra careful. Give that a little twist. Hold it in place. And now we're just going to do our standard. You fold this down, fold this up. Right? Fold it down, fold it up. Fold them across. They start to wrap around each other. So cute. Some people love this little dainty threading. Like, I don't know. There's just something. I guess the same reason people like little tiny dollhouse furniture and stuff. So what do? I'm just going to come around the back like this. Come around this side. Oh, look at me. I'm still running. Even with teeny tiny wire, I don't give myself enough. Let's do one little loop. Can't even see what I'm doing. My fingers are so fat. And that's it. Like, nothing too crazy or fancy. Just separate these. Look at that. When they're that tiny and you separate them, it's so dainty. So dainty. Oh, that one doesn't even make it to the top. Well, take more than 7 inches. Take 8 inches, 9 inches, just to be safe. Now I just wrapped that around there. I'm going to tuck in the end. Just cut it. It's like this overwhelming rule with this channel is if Matt tells you to take 12 inches, take 16. If Matt says take 20 centimeters, take 30. Just to be on the safe side. I almost forgot that tiny little piece sticking out. It's so tiny. You can't have a piece sticking out like that. So we're just going to curly cue it. Sorry. Oh, it's so small. How do I even curly cue it? Sometimes you got to use your round nose pliers have thinner tips. Unless you get those really expensive flat nose pliers with the like laser sharp tips that I just don't want to invest in because I go through so many pliers. I like getting just the economy ones, $5 sometimes. So that's not even a swirl. That's like a barely an excuse for a loop. And that's about all I can do with this wire. It's so tiny. Still cute. I don't like that. I'm gonna make it. I'm such a perfectionist sometimes. I'm gonna make that a tighter swirl if I can. Very carefully. Very carefully. I'm gonna try to actually. I was gonna put it under there, but not sure that looks any better. But whatever, we'll keep it. We'll take it. Let's fold that out a little more. Put the tiniest bit of you can take a tiny bit of wire and you know, yeah, let's do that. I'm trying to stay away from using the E6000 on the stones. Try to be a purist, use as much just plain wire as possible. We'll give it a little crimp. Take this piece here. Up, get my fingernail under there, lift it. It's the same as doing a big one. It's just in the beginning you're gonna be like, oh, this is a little bit challenging. It's so tiny and everything is so flimsy. But as you get into it, you're gonna be like, these guys are so cute. I want to make 100 of them. So that wire there is just gonna hold those two ends from oh, and look what I did. Magical. Now I can have more wire to scarf the top, and that top could use some more scarfing, make it look a little prettier. Oh yes, See that? Of course you don't. The camera hates me. See that? Oh, beautiful. So careful. Tuck in the dainty little part. Nope. You got to cut it just right. If you have too much, it doesn't want to tuck. It starts sticking out. If you have too little, then it's also not good. You can't sometimes get enough of an angle. All right, that's good. I'm happy with that. This is not super tight. I'm going to crimp this whole thing. There we go. I feel better. Now that back looks kind of eh, but the front, whoa, yeah. So I don't like the swirl again. Let's move it somewhere. Where can we put it? Let's put it down there. That's... Oh, I just messed up the other swirl. Wow, look at how easily you can mess stuff up on here. So bend that back. What am I doing? I'm just causing trouble. That's okay. Someone's gonna love it. There we go. Anyway, you get the idea. Oh, there we go. I got it back. All right, good, good, good. Oh, finally I got it. Okay, I'm gonna take my fingernail. Oh, it's safe. It's wedged in there. Almost looks like a heart. Now I don't have to add any glue or anything. Voila! Last one. You've seen me do this on much bigger stones, so let's just do this real quick. This time I made sure to take an extra amount of wire, I think. I took about almost 2 feet. Bring it to the middle. Crimp. Crimp. Loop. Twist that loop. Make sure it's secure. There we go. Fold. Fold. Swirl. Swirl, wrap around and around and around and around. Once you get this swirl, here's a trick for the swirl. Once you get it kind of starting to swirl, you can just hold it like this and twist. And you can just keep twisting around and around as many times as you want. It gets it tighter too. But I want to end it right here. I want to come around the back. I want to come up here and just do some craziness. Just fold it. My finger, I'm using my finger nails to put the pressure on. Where in the bigger ones I'd use my fingertips. Fingernails are acting like teeny tiny little tools. So I'm gripping it, sorry. It's going off the camera. There we go. Oh yes. There we go. Everything's so flimsy, it'll just bounce around. You just keep pulling it back. Just keep bending it where you want it until it starts to strengthen up as you add all the little components together. All right. Cut. Tuck them in. Wham bam. So cute. So cute. Let's just get these guys tied up right there. And it slipped out of my fingers almost. You gotta be careful. You'll also scratch the wire really easily. You think because it's thinner wire you can be gentler. No, you be firm. You grip it tight because it's so much easier to slip, and then you scratch it up. Let's get our fingernail under there. Just loosen those up a tiny bit. Get the wire under there. Oh man, it's fighting me. Get under there. I got under one. There we go. I had to get my fingernail under and squeeze from these sides. That kept that little bit of crevice open so I can get the wire under. And this is just to hold these two guys. And I'm just gonna go like this. Twist. Just a couple twists. And I'm gonna further, I should have used a thinner wire for this even than this 22, but that's okay. Back up Scarf over the top again. Bring it up here. Like that. Should I go around twice? Now we're good. And cut it. With just enough. Remember, those sharp ends will shoot when you cut it, so point it away from yourself, or make sure you have glasses on or goggles or something, or close your eyes. Oh, sorry. There you go. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Tuck. I am going to throw some E6000 just right in there, just because I have 4 different ends tucked in that tiny little spot, and I don't want any of them to get rubbed loose. But that E6000 is not touching the stone, so we're good. All right. Man, this is not screwing on. Okay. There we go. Voila. Now notice these are sticking out the sides. That's not too bad. They're not going to catch, but I'm just going to shove them back a little bit because they moved from where I put them. Yay. Voila. And what makes a dainty little teeny tiny pendant even cuter is having a teeny tiny little delicate chain to go with it. How do you find cute little chains? Well, you can actually read the size of the links, and this one I believe here is like literally like 1 millimeter or less, but 2 millimeter links should be good when you're ordering them. Also, you can cut the chain. A lot of times if you get these chain, you can get in a spool, but if you get these pre-ordered with the little clasp already attached, they come usually in 18 inches, but you can specify 16. 16 makes it tighter on somebody, especially with a small neck. You can go all the way down to 14. 14 is like choker territory, but more than just measuring it on a ruler, and those are inches, by the way, you can measure it on the person's neck or somebody similar if it's a gift. And you can always have chain available to switch it out if the person wants a different size, obviously. Always bring your tools with you to every show, and always have like backup supplies of at least, little things that might need to be switched out. Yes. And I forgot another cool thing, which I'm sure a lot of you are thinking. If you lose an earring, take that leftover one single earring and make it a necklace pendant. Or make your necklace pendant and make matching earrings. They could be the same size. They could be a little bit modified, a little smaller. Yes.